Beauty and the Beast. Once upon a time, there was a rich merchant who lived with his 3 daughters. One day, the merchant was going to go faraway lands to trade. Before he left, he said to his daughters, "What do you want me to bring you?" His first daughter wanted a dress with embroidery, the middle daughter, a pearl necklace, and the youngest, the girl named Beauty, wanted a rose. The merchant set out on his way by saying he'd bring their daughters the gifts they wanted. A few days later, the merchant finished his job and hit the roads to go home. Suddenly, there was a storm on the road. His horse could hardly see the path he was going in this buzzing storm. The merchant was lost, trying to find an inn where he could spend the night and rest. In that moment, he saw a light in the woods, in the middle of the forest. The merchant, headed towards the light, saw a beautiful castle lighted by lanterns and lamps, and said, "I hope I may find myself a place to sleep and some food here." When he got to the entrance, the door was open. He shouted throughout inside, but no one answered. When the merchant went inside, he saw a big table in the living room. There was a great variety of wonderful dishes on the table. He shouted a few more times to find the owner of the house, but he didn't get a response. In the end, he couldn't wait anymore, and he sat down and ate the food hungrily. He dared to go upstairs after eating. In the corridor, he saw gorgeous rooms. He heard a fire crackling and entered the warm room with the fireplace burning. The merchant was already very tired because of this difficult journey. When he saw the warm fireplace and the soft bed, he couldn't resist. He just lay down on the bed and fell asleep. The next morning, he woke up peacefully and well-rested in a beautiful morning. But there was no one around again. But he saw a breakfast table next to his bed. Though he was very surprised, he had the breakfast and went downstairs to say thank to the owner. He couldn't find anyone again. The merchant couldn't make any sense of all these things. Finally, he walked out of the castle to the garden, where he tied his horse. He saw a big rose flower in the garden. He remembered his promise to Beauty and bent down to pick the most beautiful rose of the sapling. Suddenly, a terrible and ugly man with an animal head showed up. "What are you doing? You ate the food on my table. You slept in my bed, and now you're stealing my favorite flowers." He said, "I'll punish you for your ungrateful behavior." Merchant was trembling with fear. "Forgive me. Please don't hurt me. I'll do whatever you want. I had no intention of stealing this rose because I promised my little girl, Beauty, to bring a rose." The Beast, "I'll forgive you on one condition. You're going to bring your daughter to me. She will live in this castle and serve me." As much as the appalled merchant begged, he couldn't persuade the Beast and promised to bring Beauty. He came home crying. He told his daughters what had happened. Her little girl, Beauty, comforted her father, thinking that the good always brings out the good. "I'd do anything for you, dear father. Don't worry. You'll be able to keep your promise, and we'll be fine. Please take me to the castle," she said. Then Beauty and her father set off to the castle where the ugly man was staying. The Beast was surprised to see the merchants bringing Beauty, and he was very kind to her. At first, the Beauty trembled and feared by the look of the Beast. Then she realized that her fear was gradually fading away. The Beast gave the best room in the castle to Beauty. Since the castle was calm, Beauty began to feel comfortable. Now she was sitting in front of the fireplace for hours and knit. The Beast sat away from her and stared at him quietly. Over time, they started having nice conversations. The days have passed fast. Beauty and the Beast have become good friends. One day, the Beast asked to Beauty, "Would you like to be my wife? I want to marry you." She was so surprised she didn't know what to say. This offer surprised and confused her. Marrying someone this much ugly? I'd rather die. But she didn't want to hurt the feelings of someone who was always nice to him. With a sad and shamed voice, I'm afraid I can't say yes." "I am so sorry," she said. The Beast told her, "I get it." He said, "I won't be mad at you because of that." They continued their lives as usual, and they never talked about it again. One day, the Beast gave Beauty a wonderful magic mirror and said, "You won't feel alone anymore." The more she looked to the beautiful mirror, the more she could see his family, his father, his brothers. One day, the Beast found Beauty looking in the mirror crying and asked her what happened. "My father is so sick. I wish I could see him before he dies. And I miss my brothers so much. Can I visit them?" asked the Beauty. The Beast said, frowning, "No, you can never leave the castle." Then he walked away. But later, he came back with optimistic attitude. "If you promise to return to the castle in 7 days, I'll let you go and see your father and your brothers. Beauty, enjoy. I promise I'll be back. You are so nice. You made me so happy, thank you," she said, and went on her way. In fact, the merchant got sick because he thought his daughter was trapped and unhappy in the castle. The merchant began to heal when he held his daughter, whom he hadn't seen for a long time. Beauty told his father every detail of her life in the castle. She said the Beast was actually very nice and polite. The days passed quickly, and eventually the merchant was fully recovered. Meanwhile, Beauty just realized that 7 days had passed by. That night, she had a terrible nightmare. In his dream, the Beast got very sick and was about to die. He was in pain and begging and calling her by saying, "Please come back to me." The Beauty remembered her promise and prepared to leave immediately. The next day, she ran as fast as she could and reached the castle. When she came to the castle, she saw him lying on the ground in the garden. She was terrified to him like that. The Beast was unconscious. Beauty, "God, please don't let anything happen to him." She prayed with love that God may heal and forgive him for. Beauty, "Please don't die. I'll marry you," she added. These words of sincere conversations had been a miracle effect. Suddenly, the Beast's curse was broken, and he turned into a handsome young man. Young and handsome man. "I've been waiting for this moment for so long. I was suffering in silence. Thank God your sincere prayer has saved me from my suffering." They turned me into an ugly creature with black magic, and only the love of a young girl who would love me for who I am would turn me into my true identity. Dear Beauty, I want to have a happy life by marrying you. Soon after, their wedding took place in the rose garden, and from that day on, their happy home has been called as Rose Castle.